Thank you and good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. I can tell from the agenda that the industrial engineers have planned a quality program for the next couple of days. Speaking to this group of maintenance professionals reminds me of an experience another speaker once had. That speaker was a man who lived through the terrible Johnstown flood and spent the rest of his life talking about his experiences. He became so eloquent that he turned professional and toured the country lecturing about it before huge crowds. Eventually he died and went to heaven. He had no sooner gotten settled in when he began to pester St. Peter about giving one of his lectures. After a few days, St. Peter said to him, "It's all set. We've reserved an auditorium for you that will seat 4,000, and I expect every seat will be taken. But there's one thing you should know before you give your speech on the flood. One person who will be in the audience will be a man named Noah." That story should give you a good idea of what it feels like to stand here and speak to experts. And instead of just one Noah, you're a room full of Noahs. But I've accepted the challenge because what I'd like to discuss I consider unplowed ground, and I believe it's time we plowed it. So today I've brought with me some warranties, papers that tell us how a product can last if certain conditions are maintained. This one's for a lawnmower, void because the air filter wasn't changed. Here's one for a heat pump, void because the compressor wasn't serviced. This one's for a BMW, void because the brake pads weren't replaced. And here are others, warranties that expired because the owner failed to provide the proper maintenance. These could be the warranties on our plant facilities. The only difference, as I see it, is that the warranty on a plant tells us how long that system can last, given the proper maintenance. What kind of warranty do you have on your plant? What value do you have at stake? I can tell you what mine is. Tennessee Eastman is headquarters for the Eastman Chemical Company. With almost 400 buildings and 11,000 employees, we're one of the largest chemical manufacturing locations in the country. We have a lot of assets. Our replacement value is over $4 billion. From the Eastman Kodak share owners' standpoint, this is an investment worth maintaining properly, so we can achieve the earnings they expect. We're accountable. Whatever the value of our investments, we must maintain them so we can produce a maximum return and be able to trumpet aggressively worldwide. To do all this, we must have the capital to maintain the assets. And this means including maintenance in the corporate business strategy. In order to do this, we must elevate maintenance to a new level. I'd like to propose 3 ways to do this. The first is through a cultural change. The second, through a focus on quality. And the third is through employee involvement. First, the cultural change I want to discuss has to do with our thinking. If we haven't already, we must get out of a cost-cutting mentality. You know what I mean. It sounds like this: when sales are down, cut the maintenance budget. Don't fix it till it breaks. Just call the maintenance when you need them, because maintenance is such a variable cost. It gets cut when the company has a cost reduction goal to reach. The result is a gradual decline of production processes and a gradual acceptance of lowered plant capacity. We saw this at Tennessee Eastman until we implemented an equipment reliability program. We used to cut back and minimize maintenance costs to make them as low a percent of sales as possible. This was fine when capacity utilization was much lower, but when the demand increased, our maintenance costs soared. The equipment wasn't able to handle it. Maintenance overtime was necessary to keep us running. Like most other companies, we've played catch-up for those cost-cutting years. Our company is 70 years old. Much of the plant equipment is 30 to 40 years old.
That's pretty tough, I thought.
145.